Well, hello, good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you. I can't believe it. Another month is behind us and here we are again. The Ferrari Esports Series returns for, wait for it, the final qualification knockout race of the season. Wow, it was just 4 months ago that we started the journey towards this very moment in time. Today, we will be deciding which 12 drivers will join the 36 drivers who have already qualified for the main Ferrari Esports Series. Now, I'm sure everyone at home is feeling the same as me, very excited about this final knockout qualification round. But before we get into the show today, we've got a few introductions to make, a bit of analysis to do on the what, the when, the why of really how we got to this stage of the season, and also what to expect from all the action tonight. Now, the regulars of the show will already know this part, but for those of you who are new, well, welcome to the Ferrari Esports Series. My name is Nikki Shields. I'm a motorsport and esports presenter, and it gives me great pleasure to say that once again, I will be joined by the noise from the north, the man of much hair, the painfully enthusiastic, we love him really, call him what you will, it is of course Paul Jeffrey.
Good evening, Nikki. Good evening, everybody at home, and thank you for that imaginative introduction. As always, absolutely delighted to be with you here today in the virtual studio, and I am really looking forward to what is going to be an exciting race in an exciting and brand new car to the championship, and of course a very challenging circuit as well today for our drivers to try and overcome. Now, the aim of the game today is to decide who are going to make up our final cohort of racers that are going to fight for the chance to become a part of the Ferrari Esports Driver Academy team. And I cannot wait. I've got a feeling this is going to be a sensational day of racing.
Oh yes, I am sure this is going to be another very pressured and intense night of racing indeed. But before we get into the actual event itself, Paul, could you just tell us a little bit more about what the Ferrari Esports Series actually entails, and perhaps a bit of an idea of some of the things that our drivers have had to face so far this season?
Absolutely. As today marks the final round of the qualification knockout races, it's worth taking a look at what the drivers have had to overcome to get to this point in the championship as they aim for the ultimate prize of winning the series proper. The 2021 Ferrari Esports Series consists of 4 qualification events beginning on April the 27th at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. During these qualification events, the drivers will have to achieve a top 12 finish in order to progress to the main 4-round series, which kicks off on August the 31st at the Nürburgring Grand Prix track. This will be a point-scoring championship using 4 Ferrari models in Assetto Corsa, where the top 24 drivers qualify for the grand finals. A 3-round dash on December the 14th as we look to crown our 2021 Ferrari Esports Series champion.
Well, brilliant stuff there, Paul. Thank you for explaining all of that. And as you can see, the Ferrari Esports Series really is a very action-packed championship. And every single one of our drivers that has taken part should be justifiably proud of their achievements so far. It really is so competitive. And actually, speaking of which, last time out at Vallelunga, we had a really amazing set of performances across the grid with some pretty remarkable efforts put in by our drivers on the day. None more so than runaway race winner Bastian Marti, who actually took the checkered flag a mighty 8 seconds in front of the chasing pack. What an achievement. But before we move on with the show, let's take a little look back at who finished where last time out in Italy.
Bastian Marti was our race winner, 8.5 seconds to the good from Eureka Slovanak in second place, and Ruben Garcia rounding out the podium positions. Davide Adami at last qualifies for the Ferrari Esports in fourth position, just ahead of Kamil Filipek in fifth and Gaetan Noj in sixth position, Alfonso Lalorca in P7, 8th Oscar Barco, Mirko Pompili in ninth, in 10th place Mattia Grassi, 11th was Vincent Bale, and the final final driver to qualify for the Ferrari Esports Series, 40 seconds adrift in 12th position, was Andrea Foste. Nelson De Brun, Federico Azizi, Corrado Manamara, Maurice Stryker, Andreas Lambert, Daniel Cosio, Atta Arjan, Francesco Andarassi and Mark Robert were the final finishers, with Clement Laws, Peter Brett and Dominic Ullman failing to take the checkered flag. Last time out at Vallelunga for the third qualifying knockout race of the Ferrari Esports Series.
Brilliant stuff there, and a massive well done from all of us here at Ferrari to our qualified drivers at Vallelunga. Superb performances, I must say, and I think I speak for all of us here in Maranello when I say that we can't wait to see how you all get on when that series properly begins later in August. Now, don't forget, everyone at home, you can get involved and actually win some really cool stuff too. Yes, the Ferrari Esports Series isn't just about the drivers taking part. No, it's about everyone getting involved. And actually this season, we're really excited to offer an opportunity to win big prizes, not only on the driving front, but also for our incredible fans at home. So during every race event of the qualification rounds, the Ferrari Esports Series will feature a special prize draw competition where anyone from the list of registered participants has a chance to take home pretty amazing prizes. There's no entry fee, no tests, no forms, just the chance to win really cool stuff. And all you have to do is go to ferrariesportseries.gg and register yourself for the prize contest. Do it right now. The clock is ticking. Get involved and good luck to win that competition. Now, the time is closer to the start of qualification, so it's probably time we say a few words about the amazing car and also the track that we're set to use today. First of all, the car. Well, it's something really, really special, and that's thanks to a collaboration between the Ferrari Esports Series and Kunos Simula Nozzoni. And we're thrilled to reveal an absolutely brand new and never seen before car, the Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo 2020. Now, this is a machine that is without doubt one of the most exciting models we race this season. It has a true performance thoroughbred. I mean, you would think we'd planned an easy track to ease the drivers into this new car, wouldn't you? Well, think again, because actually tonight we race at Zandvoort. Oh yes, with a track that it is sure to provide plenty of challenges. So who better to start this off than Ferrari Esports Series champion Giovanni De Salvo. And he's got plenty of tips and tricks to get behind this Dutch circuit as fast as possible.
Welcome to a Ferrari 101 track tutorial in Zandvoort, Netherlands.
Hi, I'm Giovanni De Salvo. We are here in the Dutch circuit, the famous Zandvoort, using the beast Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo. We are approaching the first right-hander, brakes at 100 meters and downshift from 6th to 2nd gear. We stay in 2nd gear until the exit of the corner. Then there's a little strict before turn 2 and 3. To approach correctly turn 3, you have to stay all on the left and brake in the middle point of the key. Downshift to 3rd and try to put as much speed as you can. Going wide on the exit, at turn 4 is come immediately. We try to stay as close as possible to the inside curb. Then we have turn 5, 6 and 7 are flat out very easily. Then we approach in turn 8, a very high speed corner, downshift from 5 to 3rd gear and brake just before the orange guardrail you see on the left. Stay as close as possible on the inside without touching the curb and at the same time try to go wide to prepare turn 9. We are now in the most difficult part of the track. For this corner you have to brake and downshift from 4 to 3rd gear. When you see the white line become straight, try to use the curb on the inside and in the exit use all the track. Stay on the left and brake just after the left curb. We have no other reference, so it's really a tricky situation. So use the second gear for turn 10, carry the speed, third gear, and again second gear for turn 11. We brake when we are exactly at the same level of the track that we see on the right. So stay in the middle of the track during the corner and exit upshifting in third gear. Finally, we have a straight when it will be possible to overtake. Brake at 100 meters. Downshift from 5 to second gear and use the curb on the right. In this way, you are fully prepared for turn 13. Stay in second gear and try to use all the track in the exit. For turn 14, we use as a reference the 50-meter boards. Downshift from third to second and use all the curb in the inside. Then full throttle for the last high speed right-hander. And this was the lap of the Zandvoort circuit.
As always, absolutely brilliant insights there into the world of professional simulation driving from Giovanni. Big thank you to him. Now don't forget that these Ferrari 101 tutorials are actually all available on the Ferrari YouTube channel. So if you do want to watch them back, or perhaps watch ones that you've missed in the past, then pick up those extra hints and tips from the FDA team. They are really informative and very entertaining as well. So I would highly recommend that you give them all a watch and see if you can pick up anything useful to improve your own performances out on track. We've actually had an amazing uptake from drivers throughout Europe during the hot lap sessions ahead of tonight. So a massive well done and thank you to everyone for being involved in the series, and also of course trying to set your own personal best times. But sadly, this race marks the final opportunity this year for drivers to become part of the series. But hopefully you've all had fun up until this point, and don't worry, we will be back next season. So make sure you do get practicing, put in that hard work, try and learn as much as you possibly can, and do join us again next year. But we are now just a few moments away from the final qualification knockout race, green flag. So Paul, why don't you tell us all about who is set to form the grid for one final chance to secure that all-important top 12 finishing position.
Maxime Battistini was the fastest driver of the hot lap qualification ahead of Umberto Principe and Alessandro Miragali, rounding out the top three. A 1 minute 36.987 was the lap time to challenge for. Maurice Stryker from the Netherlands returns once again, as does drivers the likes of Christian Barbonara, another very fast Italian to keep our eye out as the race progresses. Arta Arjun returns for the final hot lap qualification race, setting a 1:38.220, and a great field of drivers are about to take part in this fourth and final knockout qualification race. Well, if those hungry eSport racing drivers aren't enough to get you excited, then let's turn up the excitement another notch on the dial when I tell you who is going to be joining me in the virtual commentary booth today. Of course, they will be myself and once again double F1 eSports world champion Brendan Lee. But today we're also joined by the youngest member of the Ferrari Driver Academy, Iron Link's Formula 4 driver, Maya Wong. Fantastic to have Maya and Brendan with us in the booth, and I'm hearing in my ear that the cars are lining up on the grid. So for the final time in the qualification knockout races this season, let's head over to the circuit. And what a circuit it is! Zandvoort, 4.3 kilometres, 14 turns, and alongside me, Brendan Lee and Maya Wong. Maya, welcome. How are you?
Hi everyone. Well, very good, fine, thank you.
It's fantastic to have you with us in the virtual commentary booth, and Brendan once again joining us. Are you all right, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me back. I'm surprised you're not getting sick of my voice already.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not in charge of these things, so no comment there. But no, great to have for both of you with us, and it's great to be here for the final qualification race of the series. And this is the fourth of four races. It's a standalone event. The drivers in this race, the top 12, will be progressing to the main championship proper. And the key here is to qualify well. And speaking of qualification, our drivers, while we've been on air, have set their times. The grid has been formed and we are ready to get racing. So in a few moments' time, we're going to have a quick look at who has managed to secure the fastest lap of the session. And to start this race from pole position, it's a 30-minute race. There will be no pit stops, and the front person in this qualification race will be Poland's Wojciech Luskazek from a 136.856. Maxime Batufoulier is second position, and Umberto Principi in third place. Alessandro Miragani lines up fourth on the grid, and at this moment in time, the man on the bubble in 12th position is Haroldas Jotuas in 12th place with a 38.158. Haroldas was the second to last of the qualification drivers in the hot lap time, so great performance for him. But with 24 drivers on the grid, squabbling over just 12 places in the final classification. This is going to be an intense race, and Zandvoort, folks, is the kind of track where it's very hard to overtake on as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the most difficult tracks to overtake. But I mean, T1, Tarzanbocht is the best place to overtake for sure, so will be fun.
This is exactly where the drivers are going to be aiming for in a few moments' time. The 24 Ferrari 488 GT3 cars are lined up on the grid. Each and every one of these drivers are looking at those lights that you can see at the top of the screen. They're about to go green, and then we are go for the fourth and final hot lap qualification race of the Ferrari Esports Series. A good start from the entirety of the field. Yellow flags waving in the top corner. We'll see what that's for in a moment. A little bit wide at the back of the shot, but our pole position man takes an early race lead. Number 12 car there, that is Maurice Stryker. That's Lukaszek, in second position in the black and white machine. At the head of the field is Maxime Batufoulier in first place. So Maurice Lukaszek second, Maurice Stryker third, Ottomani in fourth position. And the first few corners, Maya, unbelievably, everybody seems to have got through without any contact.
Yeah, exactly. That's quite unbelievable, but it's fun to see how the race is going on now.
Yeah, great bit of driving from our field of 24. Of course, this is a 30-minute race, so there's plenty of racing still to do. We're looking at Principi now in sixth position. A little bit of gap in front and behind. And Brendan, this is the opportunity for the drivers as somebody goes track and does a little bit of grass cutting there. We'll see who that is. That might be Maurice Stryker. Yes, it is indeed Stryker now down into 12th position. We're going to have a look at a replay into T1. So this is the number 12 machine coming down into Tarzanbocht that Maya rightly identified as a good overtaking opportunity for the drivers, but everybody being nice and clean, giving each other a little bit of space. Further down the running order, we had 3 wide into T1, and Brendan, as I was saying, this is the opportunity now, isn't it, while the tyres and the brakes are cold, for the drivers to start pushing and find a good overtaking opportunity.
Like you say, tyres and brakes are cold. More important, the driver's cold. They're not warmed up. They're not knowing exact grip level. As I say it, he goes wide of the apex. A little bit of Wilson on the exit as well. So if the car behind was a bit closer, he could have been looking at a run onto the pit straight and sending it into turn 1, but he's unfortunately not.
Yeah, very, very tense moments for these drivers. We're riding on board now with Miragali, running down into Tarzanbocht, the first corner, the downhill right-hand hairpin, a good overtaking opportunity on a track that is difficult to overtake. Maggioni now very close onto the rear of Bogdanese ahead of him. This is 7th and 8th, 6th, 7th and 8th positions, all squabbling over the placings. But don't forget, no points in the qualification hot lap race. This is all about securing that top 12th position. And Maya, you see the racing is quite intense. The drivers are very closely compacted together. And what can you do as a racer to influence your position and your standing on track at this stage in the race?
Yeah, they're very close right now, so they'll try to put pressure on the guy in front and force them to make a mistake, because as I said, it's difficult to overtake for sure. So, or you get a good toe into on the front straight to overtake in Tarzanbocht, or you just put pressure and force the others to make mistakes.
Fantastic stuff, and mistakes they will be forcing. This man in particular, Mangione, we saw him on screen concentrating on the task in hand. He's looking at the back of that light blue Ferrari 488 GT3 of Bolognese at the moment, showing his nose on the inside into the hairpin. The chicane, nothing quite doing there. Very difficult spot to get wide with one of your rivals, especially with a field so closely compacted as we've got in the Ferrari Esports Series that we've seen throughout the course of the year. And Maya, if I may, I want to ask you a quick question about the series. What is your favourite moment on track so far, or off track actually, in the Ferrari Esports series? The second year we've run the championship, and it's be great to have a bit of your thoughts on that one, if we may.
No, I think the championship is great. It's so close racing. I think that's the best part of it. It's always very close and always nice overtakes, and it's fun until the end of the race. So it's very close, and the best drivers are there. So it's fun to see.
Fantastic stuff. And Brendan, of course, whoever wins the main championship proper that starts next month will potentially be a teammate of yours at the Ferrari Driver Academy Esport team. Have you seen any drivers in here that you've been impressed with so far, that you think have got what it takes to race at the highest level?
I think going back to the first round, I think Isaac Price actually, because of course the first round is everyone's dream to win that because it's a first opportunity. So I've been really impressed by him, but everyone racing so far I've been impressed by, and I think it's going to be a very high level competition into the grand finale.
Fantastic stuff, and this is somebody who wants a win as well. This is Lukasek in second position, closed that gap down now to Maxime Bottifellier at the front of the field, and Lukasek looks like he's got a little bit more pace as we're looking at him now, concentrating on his rig, trying to find the way through the chicane towards the end of the lap. Look how he uses his whole body to get the car turned in. Maximum control, maximum concentration, and watch it, Lukasek wants this race victory. Of course, you don't need a race victory, you just need the top 12, but that number 12 Ferrari 488, he fancies his chances against Maxime Bottifellier, and of course for our race leader, all the pressure is on your shoulders. You can see your rival moving around behind you. You may start thinking, is it worth me defending this spot? I want the win, of course I do, but I also need that top 12. So this is a good opportunity for Lukasek to put the driver ahead under a little bit of pressure, give him something to think about. And again, I want to go back to you, Maya, if I can, as a driver, as a chasing driver, do you prefer to be the one that chases or the one that is defending?
I mean, it's always better to be in front for sure. But if the one chasing, if you're faster and you're trying to overtake, it's also fun if you're able to overtake it. So it depends on the situation. But yeah.
And I think that's the key, isn't it? It's to have fun, it's to enjoy what you're doing. And one man that's probably not having a lot of fun at this moment in time is this man, the number 23, Maurice Stryker, in 12th position. He is on what we call the bubble, the final spot that gives you the golden ticket to join the Ferrari Esports series. And Stryker just behind Gravano in 11th and Joshua in 10th position. He knows he's got an opportunity now as we go further on the field. Now there's Miragalia in 3rd position under significant pressure from Ottomani just behind. So Miragalia on the inside coming into the chicane, defends the inside lane, light on the brakes, manages to get the car slowed down into the apex. No opportunity for Ottomani behind to get alongside and turn the inside of the next part of the corner into his own. But now Miragalia is under significant pressure. He has got to do everything perfect for the next 23 minutes. Does Alessandro Miragalia in 3rd position, just behind Ottomani in 4th, Principe in 5th, and Bolognesi in 6th place. So look at that field, the cars line astern coming down into the opening corner of the lap. No mistakes now from Miragalia. If he makes even the slightest miscalculation, you're heading straight to the scene of the accident. And Brendan, this is a kind of track, an old school kind of track, where one mistake takes you to the barriers very quickly indeed, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And they're actually side by side, and there's actually a little bit of contact coming out, and they're going to be running side by side up the hill. So it's going to be very close, but I think the black car should head out the grey car as he does. But like you say, side by side, one mistake and you're in the barrier. Super easy to make a mistake here.
It is a very old school circuit. We're of course running the 1999 to 2019 configuration of the Zandvoort Grand Prix circuit, so not the newly updated version for Grand Prix racing later this year. This is the original, or the last original layout, should I say. Now we're looking on board. This is in 13th position. So Maurice Stryker, that we spoke about earlier on the bubble, has moved one up now into 11th place. So Gravano is now the 12th place person with 22 minutes left on the clock, and the car behind is very much, this is the car behind, actually Christian Babanara in 13th spot. He wants that, he's so close, he can taste that position. It's just out of his reach at the moment. And Maya, when you're in this scenario where 13th is no use whatsoever. You need that 12th place. Does your mindset as a driver change? Do you go all-out attack, or do you rely on the instincts and the practice that you've put in up to this point?
No, exactly. When it's so close for something so special, you have to change a bit. You have to give everything at that point, and I think that's the mindset he has right now. Just give everything and try to find a way to get past Gravino. So that's the main thing.
And he's under pressure at the moment, so the forward momentum seems to have distilled ever so slightly now, and it's becoming a bit of a defensive drive for Gravino here. So that's Babanara still chasing, but unfortunately for Babanara, he's got Landolfi as well just behind him. So that difficult scenario of do you attack or do you defend and consolidate your position is still in play. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Maxime Batafoulier now 0.5 of a second to the good, ahead of Lukaszek in second position. So Lukaszek's just thinking, watch out Lukaszek, what should I do here? Do I push a little bit harder? Do I allow the car to recharge itself? And myself, ever so slightly, as Maurice Stryker riding on board with now 11th position. There is Maurice Stryker, picture in picture, plenty of nice plantage going on in the background there as well for the racer. And Stryker, 11th position, that's very nice indeed, thank you very much, but 10th would be even more attractive indeed, so that'll be a good one to keep our eye on as things progress. Now Maya, I want to ask you another question. Sorry for the barrage of questions in the first 10 minutes. You're of course the youngest member of the Ferrari Driver Academy. You're racing over in Formula 4 as well, and I wanted to ask you, how's life in the world of Ferrari? How are you adapting to being part of probably one of the most famous brands in the world and moving over to Maranello as well for good measure? Is it treating you well?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I've learned so much in this year or so being here at Maranello with all the drivers. It's really fun, but we work very hard every day. So yeah, it's just amazing. It's just very fun to be here, and we work here very hard every day to be faster on track. So I really enjoy it as well.
Yeah, it's a fantastic programme that Ferrari have in for their Driver Academy. And of course, don't forget the Ferrari Esports series is part of that Driver Academy as well. And that's what these drivers are racing for. They're racing for a place in the main championship. And then the champion of that series will take a slot in the Ferrari Driver Academy, will move to Maranello and immerse themselves in the world of the Italian brand. And Maurice Stryker, 11th place Brendan Lee, is doing everything he can for that top 10. What more can he do? Where are the overtaking spots here at Zandvoort?
Say turn one, but really the key thing right now is to get right on the rear of that bumper and almost be pushing around the corners and really put pressure onto the car in front. And that's how you get an overtake done here, is really put under pressure and forcing a mistake. And that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, been applying all the pressure he possibly can, and this is of course a brand new car to the Assetto Corsa simulation. This is the Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo 2020, so a new car that has joined as part of the Ferrari Esports series. So there's a lot of things that these drivers are coming into, a lot of taking into account of for the very first time. And Brendan, you spent plenty of time in this car, I am sure. What kind of characteristics does it have? How can you affect that in terms of setup and driving style to give you an advantage over your rivals?
Interesting thing to note here is watch out for the bottoming of the car, and many turns around here you can see sparking. There you go, just there you can see sparking. That means the bottom of the car has touched the floor, so they're really running the car super low, super aggressive, trying to squeeze every bit of performance out of this car right now.
Super aggressive is something that you can label this man, Maurice Stryker, the Dutchman, in 11th position. You can see Joshua just ahead of him. He wants that 10th place. He's got a bit of a gap to currently through Gravano in 12th position, so he's got a little bit of free air to try and affect an overtake. As Brendan mentioned earlier, apply that pressure, put the driver into a situation ahead where he's looking in his rear view mirrors, he's defending track position and not concentrating on going forward, as Arten Arjun down in 16th position makes up a place as well. So Arjun starting to move forward now, but he's got a lot of work ahead of him if he wants that top 12 position, if he wants that qualifier qualification place, and Murray Striker has not given up on this one yet. Gravino in 12th place, still under pressure from the chasing pack as well, but a fully 8 at the front of the field, 1.2 seconds to the good Lukasek in second, Miragalia in P3. Meanwhile, this is the fight that we were looking at. Arjun in the 16th position, just ahead of this fight. This is Sorensen that's going backwards now. Laws, a driver that we've seen before in the Ferrari Esports series, also making his way up. And Maya, as a driver, qualification, especially on a circuit like Zandvoort here, is just so important. What do you do to get your headspace to find that speed within you over a single lap when the pressure is so high?
Yeah, Zandvoort was one of the craziest qualifyings this year. So you have to put the lap time as soon as possible as well. So you have to push even when the tires are not 100% ready. And there were a lot of safety cars and red flags, so you have to make the time as soon as possible. So that's also a very tricky part of it. So yeah, it's one of the most difficult circuits because it's very technical and you don't have any track space. If you make a mistake, you're in the gravel or in the wall. So in qualifying, if you're pushing the limit, it's very tricky.
So from your own racing endeavours, Maya, would you say your strengths are qualification or the race itself? Actually, I'll interrupt myself for a moment because this is Murray Striker going for that 10th position, taking it, but he's on the outside into the next left-hander. Can Joshua get on the inside? Yes, he can. Murray Striker does well to keep the car still on the racetrack. He showed his intention, but he wasn't quite alongside enough. So Striker momentarily gets that 10th place, but drops back down into 11th position. That's Gravino now in the rear view mirror that you can see at the top of your screen. Suddenly gets interested in this fight. One small move, one small attack, and all of a sudden the rest of the field are back on trajectory for taking that position away again. And Murray Striker now in 11th position is starting to be held up by the car ahead, and that is starting to feed him into the chasing pack. So he's in a position now where he needs to make that overtaking manoeuvre firmly in the slipstream, running down in a Tarzan for the lap, corner one of the lap. Nothing doing there, not enough of an overlap. But look now, the Ferrari 488 GT3 is trying its very best to make the longest GT3 car in the world. Is attracted to the rear of that dark blue machine, but just no pace onto the outside line. Tries to get the switch back and gets the run up the hill, over the dunes, down to the back section of the corner of the circuit. A very fast portion of racetrack here. No real overtaking opportunities unless you're brave, unless your rival is compliant and gives you space. But Murray Striker cannot find a way past. And Maya, this is a driver that's doing absolutely everything to find a way past, isn't it?
Yeah, he's tried last lap in T10, as he does again, diving down the inside, again putting pressure, trying to force him to do a mistake and trying to get a run. Also maybe into the chicane, like here he's putting pressure, maybe he can get a good run coming into the braking zone for the chicane.
Yeah, great bit of driving from all of these as somebody in the background goes a little bit wide, does a little bit of grass cutting, but they will survive that incident. To Striker now very, very late on the brakes, the causing effect as the car closes up to the rear of the car ahead. And Brendan, just give us a bit of an idea of how difficult it is to pass in this type of race car.
It's so difficult. So obviously the GTs are a bit wider, a bit heavier than the single-seater formulas. So what the result of that is, you can make the car a bit wider into the braking zones, and like you say, you don't get so much slipstream. So although he's tucked right underneath the rear diffuser of that Ferrari right now, he's not getting that much of a slipstream. In Formula 1, you'll be alongside him past by now, but here you've got to do it in the corner.
Yeah, and you need also your rival to be a little bit compliant as well. It's very, very easy to aggressively close the door on another driver, and that will take straight to the scene of the accident. So Murray Striker, not be too familiar, I'm sure, with Joshua's driving style ahead of them, but still fighting very, very hard. And another thing, folks at home, to take into consideration, as well as this being the race result today, whoever's in the top 12 will qualify for the main championship. So you want to have, if you've got an opportunity to overtake, to beat one of your rivals on track, you want to take that, because that will plant a seed of doubt in their mind that the next time you come up against each other in the real championship, they'll know that you beat them last time around. And Maya, how important in real racing is that mental aspect of the sport, as the mind games is putting fear or doubt into your rivals' minds?
No, it's super important. We also do mental training here at Ferrari Driver Academy, just to have all the scenarios in your mind and to keep calm when racing, which is very important. Also for the starts, it's just so important to do all this mental training we do, to always be 100%. It's not just physical, not just technical, but also mental is very important in racing.
Yep, absolutely is. And all these drivers here that you see today, these are all drivers looking to engage themselves in that kind of training program at Ferrari, but there's a long way to go until we need to worry about that. We've got the small matter of the next 11 minutes and 30 seconds to get through, and at this moment in time, Maurice Stryker is the man where most of the drama is around so far. That's the number 23, the beautiful light blue and red Ferrari 488 that we're looking at now. Maurice Stryker, 11th position. Ahead of him is Jotuas in 10th position. Behind him is Gravino in 12th position. Any one of these three drivers could move forward or could move out of that top 12 with one small mistake, one half overtaking manoeuvre, bit of contact, drop a wheel on the ever inviting grass at the outside of the circuit, and straight away you're going to be losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions if you're not careful. So Maurice Stryker on the attack. The car, the body language of that car is aggressive. He's trying, but Brendan Lee, the harder you try, the more that you're taking out of your tyres. And this is only a 30-minute race, but small percentage gains and losses can add up at the end of the stint, can't they?
Completely, like you say, you're taking more heat in the tyre, taking more wear, as well as P13 is only half a second behind you, and you know P13 will be sending it because it's all or nothing right now, isn't it? If you're P13, you're going home, you're going to the cleaners. If you're P12, you're going to the championship.
Yeah, exactly right. P13 achieves absolutely nothing in the grand scale of things apart from bragging rights. So as we're looking now at Harold Jotuas, this is the man in 10th position. This is the driver that is currently trying every trick in the book to defend from the chasing pack. And Jotuas, you can see looking in his mirrors now, look at him looking down into the corners, looking at the timing on his screen. He'll have a heads-up display that tells him how far away his rival is. He'll be checking his mirrors as well to make sure that there's nobody at the inside, not defending fresh air, and that's incredibly important too as a defending driver, is make sure you're going forwards and quickly as much as you possibly can, which is a problem that's not affecting this man, Maxime Batifollier, in the race lead. The gap's been yo-yoing between a second and a half to half a second or so from Lukaszek, but you get the feeling now that Maxime Batifollier has everything under control, is just managing the pace. He was the fastest driver in the hot lap qualification by just over 0.2 of a second, so we know he's quick over a single lap here at the Zandvoort Grand Prix circuit. He got a perfect start, he got a clean run away from the line to take the race lead, and now it is just a case of massaging the gap to Lukaszek behind. And Maya, if you were in the driving seat of that second position car, what would be your strategy? What would be your mentality heading into the final part of this race?
I mean, there's still 8 minutes to go, so I think Lukaszek is still managing his tires, trying to find and looking at the other driver, trying to find a way where he makes mistakes, or you know where you're faster, to then maybe make a move in the last lap. So just analyzing the driver in front of you and trying to see where you can make it at the end of the race.
Well, Lukaszek might be doing some analysis and working out what comes next, but that is not a luxury that is Maurice Stryker's at this moment in time. He's basically running entirely on reactions, entirely on instinct, as he now gets another run coming down the long start-finish straight. Not enough of an overlap. These are two cars that are identical in specification. The only difference is the man behind the wheel and the car setup, and Maurice Stryker does not have enough in the tank at this moment in time to find a way past. Jotuas ahead of him. He'll be getting frustrated now. He'll be getting a little bit hot under the collar. 20 plus minutes following the same car, starts to become a little bit irritated as a driver. You want to find a way past. You need to get alongside at bare minimum in the braking zone to the car ahead, and Jotuas knows all this one. He's been defending for a lot of the race. We spoke about tyre wear, we spoke about the mental impact of being a driver as well. The track conditions here at Zandvoort are very warm, so the tyres will be screaming enough now as we head into the final 7 minutes of the race. And Brendan, seeing Jotuas in 10th place, fantastic defending job so far, but Do you carry that on and take the risk for the next 7 minutes, or do you just let Striker past and bag the 11th place that you need?
All depends on how aggressive he gets. If he starts sending a bit of the silly lunges and sticking his nose in where it doesn't belong, then you let him go. But at the moment, he's not making a silly lunge. He's only making lunges or overtakes that are realistic. He's not coming back from 100 meters and sending it, is he? So both of them are actually being quite sensible, all things considered.
That smells to me like a commentator's curse, methinks, as we come down now into the next 6.5 minutes. Just as Brendan Lee said, everything's been sensible. Oh, we're going to get crazy. Into Tarzan. Murray Striker shows his nose nice and early. Late on the brakes, dives it down onto the apex, manages to keep the car under control around the outside. Goes Joshua, not enough room to get the cut back, and Murray Striker goes to the Zandvoort overtaking textbook, flicks to the page that says Tarzan box, and picks out the very first example. That was fantastic from Murray Striker. He's been coming for the last 20 plus minutes, and now he is delivered. He's licked the stamp and sent in, as Daniel Ricciardo says, and 10th position is his reward. As we look now at the replay, Murray Striker shows the nose nice and early, just a little bit of turning from the car ahead, then realises he's got a Ferrari alongside, gives him plenty of racing room. Striker gathers the car together on brakes and turning, very neat indeed, and that is a position gained. Thank you very much indeed. That's on board now with Striker's car, and Brendan, lovely overtaking manoeuvre there. It wasn't commentator's curse, it was more a prediction of the future.
Yeah, I just think I was predicting the future. I'm really good at predicting the future. Like I say, I think there's going to be a really exciting end to this 5 minutes. Is that prediction now?
Yep, let's hope so. 5 minutes left on the clock. I am alongside Maya Wang and Brendan Lee in the commentary box. And Maya, question about you. You've got a great, exciting career and future prospects ahead of you. And I just want to talk for a moment about the training and progress plan that you've got for the summer break and what you'll be doing to help uplift your performances into the second half of the year.
Yeah, so I'll go back to Spain for a couple of weeks to rest a bit, but it's not 100% resting. I'll be in the gym every day and working hard to be physically ready, and then we'll do some meetings and analyze how the first part of the season went to then have a better second part and know where we can improve.
Fantastic stuff, because of course you're in Formula 4 at the moment, and how are you finding the transition into that championship? Are you enjoying racing these cars and your rivals?
Yeah, I think it's a great championship. The Italian Formula 4 championship is very competitive, more than 30 drivers in every single race, so it's very good racing, and I love racing in Formula 4. It's very good, very aggressive as well, and just a lot of overtakes you can do depending on the track. But yeah, it's very fun to drive.
Fantastic stuff. I'm sure I speak for us all when we look forward to seeing how your career progresses. But going back to the virtual racing for a moment, if we may, 4 minutes left on the clock. This is Ullman in 8th position, so this is a very interesting scenario heading in to the final portion of this race. Dominic Ullman, 4th position from Poland. He was 6th quickest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th quickest even in the hot lap competition, so he's about where he needs to be on the order, but he'll still be looking to try and snatch that place away from the cars ahead. Murray Striker recovering after that outstanding overtaking manoeuvre, now takes 10th position and immediately closes to the back of P9. And Brendan Striker at this moment in time looks like he's got lap time to spare, but just not the real estate to unleash the ultimate potential of his car, does he?
Yeah, he's got a lot of lap time in him, hasn't he? So I think he's been out of position in qualifying, and he's making amends for that right now.
And that's what we spoke about at the top of the show, didn't we? That qualifying in any series, real or virtual, so open top, closed top, whatever it might be, qualifying is critical at Zandvoort even more so. And I think Murray Striker, Brendan's doing a good job at the moment, but he will be kicking himself, and he's put himself under unnecessary pressure. And every overtake, every time that you challenge a driver, that's just more risk that you're throwing into the mix, isn't it?
Yeah, on one side you can be upset with yourself that you messed up qualifying, or you can look at it in the way that you've advanced your racecraft and you've put the mental game over 4 or 5 cars right now, hasn't he? So there's a lot of advantages to take from this, because now he's going into the championship with an attacking mindset, whereas if you're P1 at the moment, you're looking in your mirrors, and sure, you might be happy because you won the race, but right now I'd say Striker's in a good mental position.
Now that is how I like to see, looking at the positive side, and Murray Striker now wants some more from this race. Murray Striker, we're riding on board now that he's showering ahead. He's got his lights ablaze, illuminating the rear of that GT3 Ferrari, coming down into the chicane. Striker a little bit deep into the first part, but that still allows him to get a good run through the second part of the chicane. Now into the right hand, this is the penultimate corner of the lap. There's a little bump on corner entry. You've got to be careful not to unsettle the car and run wide, but Murray Striker wants piece of that action. Let's have a look now from the replay. This is Principe on the inside, makes contact with the number 18 does. Umberto Principe unawares what was happening. The 18 bounces over the curb and just knocks the car off the racetrack. So that is a real shame for Umberto Principe. He was the driver that was second fastest in the hot lap qualifications, had high hopes coming into this race, but that bit of side by side contact has cost him and dropped him down the running order. But back to Murray, sorry, this is Ullman again now in 7th position. Principe, the driver that we've just seen running wide behind in position 8, and Ullman very aggressive there, looking to find a way past Maglione. And Maya, 56 seconds left on the clock. You're well inside the top 10. You see an overtaking opportunity potentially ahead of you. Do you go with it, or do you consolidate and keep the position?
I mean, it's always better to be in front, but you have to be realistic, you have to be calm, not make a stupid mistake in the last lap. It's more important to finish the race than crash into the last lap. So you have to be smart and try to finish the race anyways, and one place or another you can make it up in the next time. So, I mean, you can try it, but don't be too aggressive.
Words of wisdom that are very easy to dispense in the commentary booth, but less so to take heed of when you're in the heat of battle. And Gianluca Maglione, we're looking at now, a little shake of the head. We saw earlier as it's under a little bit of pressure from those cars around him. He's in the yellow car now, very early to the inside. That is more defensive than attacking, I would care to say, as Maxime Batafillier at the moment does not need to worry about defence nor attack. He took race lead into Tarzan, never to be overtaken or challenged. Again, a great drive, a game attempt from Lukovic in second position, but he didn't quite have the pace did Wojciech Luskovic in second place, and Maxime Batafillier now closes, so he drops back a little bit. He's on the nice and calm for the last few laps. Make no mistakes, don't grab too much curb, don't run the car off the racetrack, just take it to the checkered flag and secure that all-important race victory. The fight rages further down the order. This is still 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th positions to be decided. We're on the final lap, so the opportunities are few and far between for these drivers. Maglione in 6th place. Maxime Batafillier is the race leader, crosses over the final corner of the lap. He sees the checkered flag waving. Maxime Batafillier takes race victory in the 4th and final knockout qualification race of the Ferrari Esports Series. A dominant performance from the Frenchman, the checkered flag, the race victory and the invitation to the main championship are his reward, wiping sweat off his brow. That was a great race, very hard fought, guys, and we get somebody just running wide off the racetrack after the checkered flag. And Mayor, what did you think of your first commentary at the Ferrari Esports Series? That was pretty dramatic.
Yeah, it was a very close race. It's really fun to do it in the commentary box. I would love to do it again for sure. And also, as we see, Striker moved up again to P9 in the last lap, so he made a good move for sure. It's been really close until the last lap, also between Batafillier and Lukovic. They were only half second off each other, so they were really pushing, and it's been great to see it.
Yeah, fantastic to have you with us. And Brendan, once again, it's been absolutely fabulous to see the level of skill and racecraft, hasn't it, on show with these virtual esport drivers.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. All of these people, even the person finishing second or last to last, they're all so talented. They're all so amazing at their craft, and they all deserve a pat on the back, really, because what they're doing for us is wonderful, and the amount of talent they have is absolutely sensational.
Yep, it really is. So congratulations to each and every one, as Brendan Lee says to the drivers here in the final qualification race of the Ferrari Esports Series. We've had 4 races, folks. Can you believe that we've done the 4 knockout races already? In a few short moments' time, when the drivers have got back down to pit lane, we'll have a look at who those 48 drivers are that qualified. But all that is left for me to say is to Brendan and to Maya, thank you so much for joining me in the virtual commentary booth today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you both with me.
No
Thank you.
problem
It's
at all.
been great. It's been great being here with you. Thank you very much.
I was just going to say I'll be sending my pineapple pizza invoice in the mail, and I'll be expecting that very soon.
Haha, brilliant stuff. Let's have a look then at the final race results. Maxime Batafulier in first position ahead of Wojciech Lukaszek and Alessandro Miragali rounding out the podium. The top 12 were fighting tooth and nail. Murray Striker just squeezing into 9th position. At the end, Luigi Gravino is the final driver that will take the qualification ticket towards the main Ferrari Esports Series. We had 4 retirements from the race. Nicolas Barriant, Alessandro Serafellini, Alejandro Alamene did not start, and Giancarlo Puzzamain retired from the race. Sensational stuff, as always, from our Ferrari Esports Series drivers, and everybody will be taking a breather now and celebrating or commiserating. Somebody who does need to celebrate, though, of course, will be the winner of our prize draw competition. We've had a prize draw in every round, and let us have a look who gets the scuba sweatshirt by Ferrari. Beautiful Ferrari piece of merchandise there, and the winner for this 4th qualification race will be Ji Jiang Yi from the United Kingdom. Congratulations to Yi for that great victory in the prize draw qualification round. And don't forget, you can always be involved in the Ferrari Esports Series. Follow us online and on social. But now, and to go back to the studio with Nikki Shields.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. I think it's time for us all to take a well-earned rest after a very entertaining race. And got to say, well done, Maya, on your very first commentary. Absolutely brilliant there, and great to hear some insights from a real world professional and actually really understand the different skills required from real and virtual, and actually see how much crossover there really is. Brilliant stuff there. Well, that's it, guys. Can't believe it. Qualification knockout races are complete. 48 drivers have made it through, and now we can turn our attention to the main Ferrari Esports Series, which begins in just a few short weeks' time. On the August the 31st, put that in your diary, we're going to be racing at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit in Germany with the epic Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo. That will be the start of the show. Now, it's been an absolutely wild ride so far this season, but there is plenty more to come. So don't go anywhere just yet. Now, before we go to the next stage of the competition, let's take a look with Paul at the 48 drivers who will be making their way into the main championship season.
Isaac Price was the first winner of the season and headlights the qualified drivers from the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. Second up on the calendar was Laguna Seca. Arnold Lecombe took a dominant victory at the top of the field to secure his ticket to the main championship. Moving on to the twisty Vallelonga circuit, Bastien Marte was the man on form to take race victory, and with it his invitation. And just now at Zandvoort, Maxime Batafulier was the man on form for first place.
Wow, what a driver lineup there. Congratulations to those 48 drivers to getting to this far in the competition. Cannot wait to see it continue. But also just wanted to take this moment to remind everyone, because today the competition votes are open for the car livery competition. We want you to vote on your favourite car livery. People have been sending in their designs. If you do go to ferrariesportsseries.gg/livery contest, you can get involved and place your vote. Well, as we said at the start of this show, can't quite believe it, because the qualification knockout races are now over. It has gone so fast. Paul and I have had such a good time bringing you all the action from those 4 knockout rounds. If you remember, of course, we started at Brands Hatch all the way back in April, and we've ended in Zandvoort in July. But don't worry, we have still got lots of racing to go. From the end of August, the Ferrari Esports Series is just starting off, and we cannot wait for the next phase to begin. So from myself, Nikki Shields,
And me, Paul Jeffrey.
and the whole team here at Ferrari, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. And we can't wait to see you all next month. Take care and enjoy your summer.